second grade bees. Welcome to the second week of library, doing it long distance. So today we are going to continue with our story. We were doing Nate the Great and we're studying different genres. And right now we're focusing on mysteries. So I just wanted to go over a couple of terms with you so you understand the language that's used when we talk about mysteries. The first one is crime. So what is a crime? It's something that someone does that's against the law. Now, not all mysteries have a crime involved with them. Sometimes, like when we did the lost cookie, something disappeared and nobody stole it. They just didn't know where it was, and it was a mystery because they were trying to figure out what happened to the cookie. So not every mystery has a crime to it. There's a victim in every crime, and that's the person who's harmed in some way, either by the crime or by the event. So it could be somebody stole something from somebody hurt somebody, or they lost something and it's the mystery is just finding it. The other one is an alibi. This is information or an excuse that somebody gives as to why they couldn't possibly have committed the crime. Usually it's a suspect, which we'll talk about. So this person has some reason that they tell the detective that I could not have possibly been involved in the crime because I was out of state at the time or I wasn't there. So that is an alibi. It's a reason that somebody gives as to why they didn't do the crime. A clue. That's a fact or object. Oh, I had a cat and now I don't. That was Oreo, by the way. A fact or object that helps to guide the detective towards solving a crime or a problem. And then we have motive. Okay, so that is the criminal's reason for committing the crime. There's some reason they did what they did, and that is called motive. And the last one we're going to talk about today sounds kind of strange. It's called a red herring. A herring is a type of fish. They call this a red herring, which is a false clue that authors put in their story, some kind of evidence or some kind of information that kind of guides you away from the person who actually did it. So you're thinking, oh, John committed the crime because of this evidence. The author did that on purpose to keep you guessing, and that is called a red herring. So now we're going to continue with our story, and after we are finished with the story, you are going to go on to your activities, which are attached also, and I think you're going to have lots of fun with them. So here we go. Let's go over what has happened in the story so far. So Nate the Great is sitting at home eating his favorite breakfast, which is pancakes, and more pancakes. And then he gets a desperate call from a friend named Annie, and she said that a painting of hers had disappeared. So Nate goes over to look for her painting, and he walks into her bedroom, and it's all, what color? Do you remember? Yellow, my favorite color. And he's looking around, and he finds something in the garbage can and asks Annie if that is the picture. And she says no, and that's kind of where we stopped. So we're going to start from that point. Now tell me, who's seen your picture? My friend Rosamund has seen it, and my brother Harry, and Fang. Now, when she names these people, we have to start thinking if they saw the picture, maybe they could have taken the picture. And that might make them suspects or people we think maybe committed a crime. Okay, so let's remember that. So it's Rosamund, Harry, and Fang. But Fang doesn't count. He's a dog. Everybody and everything counts. I said, I, Nate the Great, say that everything counts. Tell me about Fang. Is he a big dog? Ooh, very big, said Annie. Does he have big teeth, I asked. Ooh, very big, Annie said. Does he bite people? No, Annie said. Will this help with the case? No, said Nate, but it might help me. Show me Fang. Annie took me out to the yard, and Fang was there. Okay, in that picture, he doesn't look so friendly, but I think that's just what Nate was thinking in his imagination. He was big, all right, and he had big teeth. He showed them to me. I showed him mine. He sniffed me. I sniffed him back. And we were friends. I watched Fang run. I watched him eat. I watched him bury a bone. I said. Watch Fang bury that bone. What's he thinking? He buries very well. He could bury other things, like a picture. Why would he bury a picture? Asked Annie. Well, maybe he didn't like it, I said. Maybe it wasn't a good picture of him. I never thought of that, Annie said. I, Nate the Great, think of everything. Tell me, does Fang ever leave this yard? Only on a leash, Annie said. I see. I see. Okay, I'm going to tell you a funny story. I had a dog when I was little, and that dog, you know what he liked to bury? Bagels. You could give him anything, and he would not bury it. He would bury bagels. So when we would dig up for a garden or a tree or something else in the backyard, we would find bagels. I just thought I'd share that with you. Then the only place he could bury the picture is in the yard. Come, we'll dig up the yard. Annie and I dug for 2 hours. Do you think her parents were really excited about that? I don't think so. We found rocks and worms and bones and ants, but no picture. At last I stood up. I, Nate the Great, had something to say. I'm hungry. Would you like some more pancakes? Annie asked. I could tell that Annie was a smart girl. I hate to eat on the job, but I must keep up my strength. We sat in the kitchen. Cold pancakes are almost as good as hot pancakes. Now on with the case, I said. Next, we will talk to your friend Rosamund. Annie and I walked over to Rosamund's house. How many of you like cold pancakes? Rosamund had black hair and green eyes and cat hair all over her, just like me after my cat sat on me. I'm a detective. A detective? Asked Rosamund. A real live detective? Touch me, I said. Prove you are a detective, said Rosamund. Find something. Find my lost cat. I am on a case, I said. I am on a big case. Lost cat is big. Rosamund said, his name is Super Hex. I have found 4 cats. Let me just adjust. They are all named Hex. I could tell that Rosamund was a strange girl. Here are my other cats, she said. Big Hex, Little Hex, and Plain Hex. The cats had black hair and green eyes. Ooh, just like their owner. And long claws, very long claws. We went to Rosamund's house. I looked around. There were pictures everywhere. Pictures of cats, sitting cats, standing cats, cats in color, cats in black and white. We sat down. Little Hex jumped onto Annie's lap. Plain Hex jumped onto Rosamund's lap. Big Hex jumped onto my lap. And Oreo jumped off of my lap. I did not like Big Hex. Big Hex did not like me. Time to go, I said. We just got here, Annie said. She liked Little Hex. Time to go, I said. I stood up. I tripped over something. It was long and black. It was a cat's tail. Meow! Super Hex, Rosamund cried. Oh, they found him. You found him. You are a detective. Of course, I said. He was under my chair, except, well, for his tail. Annie and I left. It was a hard thing to do. I could smell pancakes in Rosamund's kitchen. Rosamund did not take the picture of your dog, I said. Rosamund only likes cats and pancakes. Now, where's your brother Harry? Seems like all of these kids like pancakes. I'm a waffle person. I met Annie's brother. He was small. He was covered with red paint. Me paint, he said. Me paint you. Good, I said. No one has ever painted a picture of me, Nate the Great. Harry took his paintbrush. It was covered with red paint. All at once, I was covered with red paint. Here we go. He painted you, Annie said. He painted you, and she laughed. I, Nate the Great, did not laugh. I was on a case. I had a job to do. I looked around the room. Harry had painted a clown, a house, a tree, and a monster with 3 heads. He had also painted part of the wall, 1 slipper, and a doorknob. He does very good work, I said. But where's my picture, Annie asked. That's a good question, I said. All I need is a good answer. Where was the picture of Fang? I couldn't find it. Fang didn't have it. Rosamond didn't have it. Harry didn't have it. Huh. Or did he? I had found the lost picture. I said, I, Nate the Great, have found your picture. You have? Annie said. But where? Look, said Harry. I'm sorry. Look, I said. Harry has a picture of a clown, a house, a tree, and a monster with 3 heads. Well, so what? Annie said. Look again. Look closely, friends. Look at the pictures. What do you see that might be different? The picture of the clown is red. The picture of the house is red. The picture of the tree, that's red too. But the picture of the monster is orange. Red and what make orange? What do you think? Let's see. So what? Annie said again. Orange is great for a monster, but Harry paints with red. Everything is red but the monster. I, Nate the Great, will tell you why. Harry painted a red monster over the yellow picture of your dog. It mixed with the red paint. Yellow and red make orange. That's why the monster's orange. Annie opened her mouth. She didn't have a word. Then she closed her mouth. I said, see? The monster has 3 heads. 2 of the heads were your dog's ears. So if you notice, right here and here are the dog's ears. The 3rd head was the tail. So that's the tail coming up from the back right here. Yes, he does do good work. So can you see it now that they drew the face in? There's the picture of her dog. Annie was very mad at her brother. I was mad too. I, Nate the Great, have never been read before. The case is solved, I said, and I must go. I don't know how to thank you, Annie said. I do, I said. Are there any pancakes left? I hate to eat on the job, but you know, when the job was over, we sat down at Annie's kitchen. Annie and I and Harry sat down. Annie said, I will paint a new picture. Would you come back to see it? If Harry doesn't see it first, I said. Annie smiled. Harry smiled. They even smiled at each other. I smiled too. I, Nate the Great, like happy endings. I said goodbye to Annie. And Harry and Fang, I started to walk home. Rain started to fall. I was glad I was wearing my rubbers. And that is the end of our mystery. Did anybody think that the dog had done this as we were reading along? What did you think? Right? So a clue that we had was that one picture was orange. Who were the suspects? The dog, Fang, Rosamund, right? And we had Harry. Those were the suspects. Who was the victim? It was Annie. It was her picture that was missing, right? Okay, so that is this story. So the two activities that you're going to do, which I've attached, are one, you are going to, well, one of your family members is going to set up a mystery box. And you're going to have 10 questions you can ask to figure out what is inside that box. The next activity that I have is secret code. You have to crack a secret code using the code key that I gave you, and you'll see what I mean when you open up the page. I'd love to know how you do with these activities. You can post it on Dojo, and I will see you next week with another mystery. Take care, guys.